I said
You
I'd put it
did.
on just to catch Matty being,
Being a knob
troublesome.
end. Fuck off.
Let me get all these pieces of paper.
I hate him so much.
Every piece of paper that's
I'm
here.
leaving at home next time. Go away.
Bye, Matty.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Natural Strongman. We have a huge competition coming up tomorrow, which is Britain's Strongest Woman, the Giants live show. It's going on in Doncaster, and we're lucky enough to be joined by World's Strongest Woman 2021 in the Masters category, Ayshea Ullah. Thank you very much for joining me.
Harry Mark, thanks for having me on.
Now, this is going out on the morning of the competition. However, it's 11 o'clock at night, or coming up to 11 o'clock at night. You've finished the athletes meeting. Anything crazy happen in it? Did anyone start throwing punches like a UFC fight or something like that?
No, it was all very good. We're all very civil and socialized. I think they're actually, Darren was laughing, saying how the women, we're way more organized than what the lads normally are. Normally they have to have people following the lads around to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So no, it was great. It was actually really, really cool to be there for the brief athlete meeting. So we got to know our refs. Tomorrow will be Darren and Magnus Fur, and we also actually had this really cool brochure that's been done, and in it is all of the info of all the a little snippet of infos of the ladies that will be competing, and just on the back a little bit about the events. So it's really, really cool little flyer. So that's class.
Before you put that away, let's hear what it says about you.
Okay, so for me, it has my name, obviously. It gives the stats, so the age, my age, my weight, my height, and 5-time Ireland's strongest woman. Ayshea is the driving force of developing strong woman sport in Ireland. So that was a lovely little write up there. So
I think they got it right. I think that's pretty bang on. So the events that are coming up and your preparation for those events, how has it all gone? How are you feeling for it?
I suppose the prep it's probably been one of the worst preps I've had, in fairness. It's been a tough one. I suppose I was just coming back from injury when I did Europeans back there in August, and so August was my first run out Europeans to see how the hamstring held up, and I obviously knew I'd been invited to Brits anyway. But I got sick coming back from France after Europeans. I suppose I was a bit run down, so it was a tough couple of weeks. Luckily, I think the events that we're going to be doing are almost identical to Europe's, so a little bit heavier in some circumstances, but they're pretty much the same. So that wasn't too bad. It was just, I suppose, maintaining the movement as much as we could, but like it has been tough. I've a lot of issues going on at the moment with my left shoulder. We're not sure what's going on. So it's just been a case of powering through things, I suppose, and getting on with it. The weights, they're not the issue. We know that they're heavy, but they're all weights that are doable for me. It's just getting it done now. And again, it's going to be quite a quick turnaround. I haven't done a quick turnaround comp since March, so we're probably looking at about 3.5 hours. So that's going to be a one to see how we fare up for that as well. But it'll be fine. It'll be good.
And you mentioned you have the shoulder issue. I know you had a hamstring issue a little while back. That a little bit of a problem. And obviously you have famously the bicep issue as well.
Yes.
You're being held together with like duct tape at this
stage. Yeah, duct tape and tiger balm. That's what we kind of say at this stage. I think but it's also, I don't use it as an excuse. Like as far like I'm turning up, and what will be on the day. I'm doing everything I can to keep the shoulder free. We think it's more that my lat hasn't been loading correctly, and it could be that it seems to be yoke that is making it worse when I train yoke. But other than that, like it's just trying to keep it freed up. One of my clients, actually one of the members who is actually traveled over to support with one of the other guys, turned up with a massage gun for me as a present 2 days ago. So that was really handy because I really kind of need that at the moment. But yeah, I suppose I'm a masters athlete. We expect things like that. I've been in the game now for probably 7 or 8 years, and powerlifting for a couple of years before that. So, and I'm lucky in a sense, I suppose, from a mindset. I just pushed through it. Like, I've 2 detached bicep tendons. I never got them reattached. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing there to tear now. They can't snap again. But possibly one of the issues that I'm experiencing with the left side is due to only having half a bicep. But it's fine. We'll motor on. So we will.
To be fair, your biceps, they're decent, so half of one is just as good. It'll be fine.
It'll be perfectly fine. We'll motor on through it. It'll be grand. Plenty of Nurofen and paracetamol tomorrow. It'll be fine.
And as a masters athlete, and obviously you're going up against some of the athletes that are sort of in their 20s, how tough is that? Obviously, it's a different sort of approach for yourself, but how tough it actually is it?
Well, it's funny enough, I was talking to Luke Davis before, just after the athlete meeting, and we were looking through it, and I think I'd said this when I was chatting to you at Natty Worlds there last weekend, was that we counted, I think it's 5 of the women on the program, so with 13 contestants tomorrow, 5 of them are actually over 40, so they're all in their masters, which is a massive testament to see that women over 40 are competing at such a high level still. But saying that, I suppose with the age, I always look at it this way: in some respects we probably have more physical strength, where we might not have as much aerobic strength, some of us, but on the day, I think going up against the young'uns, there's no different than going up against like the really strong masters either. It's I still compete opens in some areas anyway. I don't just do masters competition. So yeah, there's a difference, I suppose, more probably in my training than anything else, and how I prep. Rather than, suppose, if I was up against, if Chloe Brennan, for example, who suppose is in her 20s, our training will probably be a lot different. Where also, if you were to weight categorize, I would be a heavier athlete than what she is as well. So I think that's where more of the differences come in, rather than on competition day.
It's one thing I think that's quite noticeable in the lineup this year is such a variation. Like, you've got the real lightweights of 64 kg category up to obviously the heavier built athletes, but also you've got the age range as well. There's the masters category down to quite young athletes as well. Is that just a testament to how well these particular athletes are doing?
Absolutely. It's when you look at the lineup with the best of the best across Britain and Ireland, and it's been picked that way, I think, for the first competition, is just to showcase how strong the women are across the board. Like, people will probably go, oh, like, you look at Rhiannon and say she's 64 kilos or under 64 kilos, wherever we're going, she's lighter weight than that, she's a younger female athlete, but by God, she's gonna hold it for an awful lot of things. Like, when you look at the log and stuff, like she's on a 100-kilo log, so there's nothing to say. Then you look at the likes of Lucy Underwood, who has the 300 and we've got 300, what's it, 317?
Yeah, 380.
Yeah, it was 317 because it was in pounds, so they like to confuse me. I want to say pounds and say kilos, so, like, world record deadlift. But then Rhiannon is like up at 272, I think. So you're there kind of going, you can't discredit or say that these lighter weight female athletes are not going to hold their own to an extent against the heavier weights. So it is. I think it's across the board. It's going to showcase just how strong the women are across the spectrum of weight categories and age.
And speaking, actually, was talking to Rhiannon earlier, and she's actually going for the 300 kg deadlift, which 5 times body weight, which is monstrous for an athlete.
Yeah.
Last weekend, you came up for the naturals, the world finals of natural strongman. How much sort of damage, I suppose, did that do to your prep? Obviously, coming across or going over to Edinburgh for 3-4 days a week before probably one of the biggest competitions that you've done, it must hit your training a little bit.
Yeah, it was tough. Like, I had to get into my physio to Liam on the Monday morning, I think it was, before that. So we'd come back from France. We ran a comp. This is, I suppose, the other side of it. We'd got back from France. I was sick. We went straight into a competition, running a comp that weekend. I was sick for the week, and then there was another competition the following weekend. Got into my physio on Monday because my shoulder was so jacked up, and it was referring down to my forearm. And waking up, like, my arm would be so stiff I couldn't even. It's like a neuromuscular response. So then I was sick. So my prep was like up and down anyway. So then traveling to Edinburgh, I suppose, for that competition, I work 2 or 3 jobs as well. Like, it's not even that I don't, you were saying to me today, you might be wrecked. I'm like, no, this is like a day off for me today. I'm doing feckle. But yeah, so that prep then of traveling the Friday night, getting in late, helping the lads out down the gym, and then back up at, like, we were up at 6:30 that Saturday morning into the arena, on our feet all day. I then went Saturday night into Steve GBA's, to Steve Wiley's gym, to try and get a bit of my last kind of heavy log press. It was tough, but I couldn't get everything done I needed to get done. I was wrecked, but I did what I could, which was, it just has to be enough at that stage. And then we were back up again on the 6:30 on the Sunday morning, back up for the comp, and then the travel. So it's no wonder that my shoulder just really flared up. And by the time we got in on the Monday night, again, flight delays and God knows what, as usual, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then back traveling yesterday. So it wasn't ideal, but you do what you need to do, and tomorrow I'll do the best that I can for the prep that I've had. But it is tough. But I suppose that's a part of being involved in the sport the way we are. It's not just me being an athlete. I'm not a recreational athlete. I don't just turn up every now and again and compete. I'm competing at a really high level, which is obviously understandable, like with the invitation to Britain's Strongest Woman with Giants Live. But I'm also, I run my own business. I'm coaching. I work for another company as well. Yeah, it's tough, but should we get it done?
You've obviously been an advocate for the women's side of the sport for quite a long time now. How much sort of satisfaction does it give you to finally see a show like this for the women?
I think I'll give you a little story, right? And as I'm going to say, it's going to give me goosebumps. So I've met, it's very funny, I'm going to name drop. So I met Loz and Liz outside the hotel. We were going to walk up, as you do. So, and Naomi Hadley as well. And we were chatting, and we were walking up to the dome where the athletes meeting was. And as we went into the dome in the front door, I actually got goosebumps because back in 2016, the first OSG World's Strongest Woman was held there. And my training partner at the time, Olivia Lan, we had the first Island Strongest Woman, which the qualifying place was for a place at this Worlds in Doncaster Dome. And we were competing against each other, and she picked me to the post, and she got that first initial call up. And walking through Doncaster Dome, it was really, really weird and surreal to kind of go, all those years back in 2016, did I think that I'd be where I am in the sport? How many people have come and gone, and that would be back here now in one of the biggest shows for women on the giant size stage. And it was just like, it just gave me goosebumps. It really did. Walked into the same area and same arena that we were back there in 2016, supporting Olivia, and it was mad. And then we went up to the athlete meeting, and I was sitting in this room with like 12 other women who are like world renowned, and like we're talking Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, right? But you've got Lucy Underdown in the room, who has the world record heaviest ever raw female deadlift. You've got the GOAT of World's Strongest Woman, Donna Moore. You've got Andrea Thompson. You're sitting there, Rhiannon Lovelace, pound for pound strongest human on the planet at this stage. All these amazing athletes, Rebecca Roberts, Emma Jane, Laura Baxter's there. I haven't actually been up against Laura Baxter. She's very new. All these people, right, that are absolutely amazing. And going, I didn't think that all those years ago that I would be sitting here now about to do this massive show with women, with these other women. And to think, like, from a prize perspective as well, I won't disclose because I'm not sure what's out there, but the prize is huge. for the top 5 women. The top prize is nuts. It's just amazing, and I suppose the show that they're going to put on. But it gave me goosebumps, and I think I gave Emma Jane and Naomi goosebumps because I told them the same thing. And Chloe Brennan was sitting there as well, and like Chloe was like, "Oh my god, that's the first year that she got into Strongman was 2016." And I think I remember Matt keeps telling me we met her in 2017 at Britain's Strongest Woman, a different Britain's Strongest Woman. It was one of the 100% raw CA whatever. I remember seeing Chloe in the lift there, and her getting. She was such this tiny little. I would say tiny little girl, not to be offensive, but she was. I don't think maybe she had in her mind what she wanted to do, but I'm fairly sure she probably didn't realize that this is where she would be all these years later. So yeah, so it was a pretty amazing experience, and just to see, I've seen it through its time. I've seen it go from the car parks and the first initial World's Strongest Woman to where we are now. So, and I'm really honoured, I think, to now be a part of that. And I think to be one of the, although not as famous, I suppose, as Lucy and Rhiannon and everyone, and Donna and Andrea, but to still have been I feel I've done a big part of where we've come to from where we were.
Just to go on that point there, because obviously you in Ireland, especially, are recognized pretty much as the best strength athlete that we've ever had, and you've got the accolades to back that up. People going to competitions here in Ireland that meet you would be completely just, jaw drops and oh my god, it's incredible. But for you going to these big competitions, is it weird? Does it ever really sink in that, or do you just still wake up and go, oh my god, I'm one of the best in the world? Is it a weird feeling, or does it just disappear? Or
I think it's really strange. I don't think about it so much, but I do still get, and I say it to Matt, like I still get imposter syndrome. I still sometimes feel that maybe I shouldn't be here. I remember when the invite came through for it from Giants Live, and I saw the email and Giants Live was on it, and like, we're inviting you to this, and I was like, what? Why are they inviting me? And Matt's like, going, are you stupid? It's like, it's just you. I suppose because I love the sport so much over the years, and I don't see myself. I know how strong I am. I know what I've done, but I don't see it. And then sometimes it's a case of kind of, I'm like, so I'm in the room with all these women. I'm like, they've done amazing things as well. But it is, I think, it doesn't really dawn on me, do you know? And when it does, it's more of an imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, what am I doing here? Am I supposed to be here? They make a mistake.
Yeah, did it go to the wrong person? But no, I think
it has to be. There must
have
have been the other Ayshea. That's who it was. It wasn't me.
So you've obviously, like we just said, you've done an awful lot in the sport in Ireland and internationally. If there was one achievement out of everything you've done, obviously you've got World's Strongest Woman in the Masters, you've got Ireland's Strongest Woman 5 times, you've got first place in the Irish Strength Keg Toss Challenge, and out of all of them, I know what the best one.
I know, yeah.
But out of all of them, what would be the best for you? Say keg toss.
It has to be the Keg Toss Challenge.
Of course.
Yeah, it'd have to be. And like anyone, if they haven't done it, then sure, then they've done nothing. It doesn't matter if you're pound for pound the strongest human on the planet. If you haven't won that Keg Toss Challenge.
Yeah, Rhiannon's got nothing, okay? She's not even on the board, okay? Yeah. No, but the serious answer, unfortunately, I will have to go with the serious. What would be the best achievement for you?
I don't, I think people sometimes laugh at this, right? But I remember one of the biggest things was when I broke the 200 kilo deadlift barrier. And that sounds like small fry to people now, right? But at the time in Ireland, nobody had broken, no natural female had broken this 200 kilo deadlift raw, right? And they'd been equipped or whatever, but it seemed to be that people thought it was this elusive number, that it wasn't going to happen. And I remember I'd only started deadlifting, within 18 months I'd broken the 200 kilo barrier raw. And I knew it could be done, even though it felt like the women who were around me were powerlifting. Oh, it's never going to be done. I was like, of course it'd be done. And to just go on and on from there and then push that boundary, that was probably one of the biggest achievements. But I suppose, like, winning worlds, and one of the biggest regrets I have is I didn't sit back and actually embrace that as much as I did, because I had another goal in mind. I wanted to go to Finland and win the natural worlds title as well. And I'd won the Masters OSG, and it's like I knew I'd done it, and I was so happy I'd done it. But then I was moving on to the next thing. So I think that was probably obviously the biggest achievement, I think, to go there and to show what can be done at like 45 at the time. And to win by a country mile. I think I was almost a full event ahead going into the last event. Like I would have really had to have messed it up, but I kept ahead and I did it. And so I think, yeah, between hitting that 200 mark on the deadlift, even though then I went to do it on the squat as well, I exceeded squat. Again, it was, I think, the heaviest female squat at the time. I was raising the bar on it, and I went in and smashed it in the end. I think I got it at 230 kilo, with wraps, but still. But it was that deadlift. I think that was the initial point that I knew that sky was the limit, that I could push on and do whatever I needed to do once I had done that.
You're really supportive of the natural side of things, and you've seen quite a progression with that alongside the women's sport as well. The natural side is growing very, very quickly, and you're one of the driving forces behind that here in Ireland.
Yeah.
Do you see, obviously the women's sport has come up to, or getting close to the level of the men's now. It's starting to get a foothold on the same level. Do you see the natural side of the sport rising to that as well?
Absolutely. I think last weekend really showed, I think, just how far the tested side of the sport is coming, how the natural side and the tested side is going to grow. Like, we were blown away with, I think, the response, even from the likes of some of the Finnish and some of the other European athletes who were like, we're coming back next year and we're going to bring 20 other athletes with us. It's just another option. It's another pathway. And I think I kind of scooped across this before and said, like, one of the main reasons I wanted to have that tested natural federation was to give options, and for people to be able to say, okay, I want to be able to compete on an even playing field. I want to be able to compete in this avenue, in this lane, and just for the people to have that option. And I think it's only going to grow. It's like when you look at the powerlifting side of things, when you look at, and what we're trying to do is actually create, I think, that environment. So it is professional. It is really high caliber. Along the lines, when you look at some of the best powerlifting, so the IPF, I suppose, is the only one at the moment to kind of really go, okay, if you were to say the elite of the powerlifting, to create the same thing for strongman would be the goal, I think, to show just how amazing the natural pathway is as well. And likewise, like we said, we've said this before, it doesn't mean that anyone else is not working equally as hard. It's just giving people another option. And it's going to grow. It's going to get massive. There's no two ways about this. This is just the beginning. It's potential to just roll and get bigger. It's just the tip of the iceberg, basically.
That is one of the things that we've been quite eager to stress, that natural strongman doesn't have to be in competition with the other areas of the sport, and there's no easy road in strongman or strongwoman. It's all tough, and we don't make any judgments on either path that people want to go down. It's just, like you said, to give another option and another pathway for people to go down. The response that the natural strongman world finals had last week was incredible. The viewing figures, the actual interest afterwards, the amount of messages that have been coming in to to all of the organizers. Are you surprised by how big of a hit it's been straight away?
Okay, it's going to sound stupid. No, it might sound like I'm lying about this, but no, I'm not. I think I've had that vision, and to me, if I was feeling, when I feel like we're on the cusp of something, and I've had this feeling, this thing, vision, whatever, I suppose, for a number of years. So I'm not surprised. I'm absolutely delighted. I'm so happy that is the response that we've had, and it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that between the growth of the sport anyway and the amount of people we had who were getting involved, I suppose, and who would have been sharing and getting their families involved, that it's getting out there. It's now very, very popular. The likes of, I suppose, Kobe Brennan being so well known, I suppose, on social media, would have had a big impact on that as well. The people who are involved, I suppose, behind the scenes, like with Matt and Luke and Steve, the amount of work they've done behind the scenes pushing it, but also yourself. Like, you've come on board, and like we said, I don't think you probably realised. I'm going to turn interviewee on you. I didn't. Do you think?
Oh,
did
God.
you realise?
We're losing connection. I have to stop the interview.
No, but honestly, like, did you think, like, 2 years ago, that this would be the route, and you'd be looking at, like, I think we've got nearly 1,000. Was it 950? I think Matt was saying subscriptions on the Natural Strongman channel.
Yes, we're nearly at the 1,000. I can't wait.
Go subscribe if you're listening to this. Go subscribe,
yes,
and you haven't.
Help us get to the 1,000. We get 960 subscribers within 10 days or something.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't have thought that was even possible, I suppose, in that short period of time.
The flip side of it is, a couple of years ago, I thought I would be competing at this stage, and that has sort of fallen apart. But no, I definitely, like, the response has been incredible. From my side of things, I just created a little bit of a channel just to sort of show my own training, and now we're able to show the world finals of the Natural Strongman to everyone, which is incredible within 2 years.
I'm not surprised. I'm absolutely delighted, but not surprised, because I had that. I just knew. I knew that if you got enough people and you pushed hard enough, you know that old saying, "If you build it, they will come." I'm such a firm believer in that. Like, even with GSP, with the gym, it's taken a long, long time, but the caliber of people who are involved in it, no more than the federation, and the federation's involved. It takes that like-minded view. But if we build it, they'll come. They're coming, and they're going to keep coming.
And it came up in a video recently I did with the three founders of Natural Strongman. So
the three Muppets.
Or the three amigos. I think it was you.
The three amigos, yeah.
And I think it's important to note that although Matty is taking all the credit for this, that it was your idea in the first place to create a Naturals Federation.
Yeah, well, no, he's not taking all the. He's laughing in the background here.
Again, I had to throw that in just to annoy him.
Yeah, just because he's in the back there. Yeah, no, I think it was definitely a joint thing. Anyway, it was for me. It was very much of a personal reason, and I think Matt knew that as well. And he also was very astute and realised that there was there was a gap. There was a gap in the sport that we loved, and sure, no better man to run with it. And sure, every great man has a far better woman behind him. So apart from Mark, you have curtains.
Apparently not.
We'll find you one, or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, like, it was definitely more much the two of us coming together and kind of going, no, this is definitely something that we want. And yeah, I think I kind of stay quiet on a lot of stuff. I'm there in the background and I'm doing my thing, especially with Strongwoman Island. I suppose that was an avenue that I took with the women to go, okay, let's push this forward. So bringing in the likes of Kayla and Mary and Sharon and driving that forward. Even though it's not INSF, it's not the Natural Strength Federation, but it's still it was just an avenue I took to try and get the women's side of things. But the naturals was always, it was the way to go. Like I said, fill in that gap and giving that option.
Well, I'm going to let you get some sleep because you have a big day tomorrow. But I think from everyone, from the natural strongman side and the Irish strength side and every side of Strongwoman and Strongman, keep doing what you're doing, because you're promoting every area of the sport. So there's literally no area that you're not promoting. And I think everyone would love to wish you the best of luck tomorrow. I think you're gonna do well. I think you're gonna surprise people.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully I will. And thank you to everyone. My phone has been hopping all day with people like tagging me and sharing on Instagram and wishing me well. So I know the love. I'm very much feeling the love and the support from everyone. So thank you very much. And thank you, Mark, for letting me talk rubbish. I was going to say a bad word, but I didn't.
You don't want to turn into Stephen Wiley or something, or Jack Harkin and start cursing
not.
on my
I'm
channel.
way too good looking to turn into a ginger Scotsman. So
well, thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck tomorrow. We've got our fingers and toes crossed for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.